Good morning, everybody. Welcome to office hours. Welcome. Our final office hours of the year, 2024. Welcome. Doran says, Merry Ramahana Kawanzamas. And to you too. Welcome. We will get rolling here in just one moment. We have got we've got a new time slot today because we've got holiday festivities happening. I've got family visiting right now, and we've got some stuff we're going to run around and do. So appreciate you guys being flexible for the earlier time slot. And we'll keep it to an hour today as well, just to make sure, again, can get off and do all the holiday stuff that I'm sure you guys are very busy with as well. So thank you for your flexibility and thank you for joining me. And like I said, this will be our last office hours of the year. Next week, I think that's like the 27th or something like that is Friday. And there's no way I was going to make that work in my schedule. I know, because I've got my kids here, my mom here. We're going to be horsing around. So didn't want to commit to something that wasn't going to make sense. And we will get back on track in the new year. So welcome, everybody. Welcome to the last office hours of the year. Thank you for joining. I'm going to, first of all, head over to our community online here and see any questions that we may have there. And in the meantime, you are welcome to enter any questions that you have into the comments. This is a Q&A call only, which means I do not have an agenda for you other than to try and help and answer questions. So if there are no questions, we will stare at each other awkwardly here. And I'm also putting a link in here. That link is if you want to join me on camera. So if you have anything to ask or discuss that needs more conversation, more context, a little bit more complicated, things like that, screen sharing, any of that, then you can use that link and we can connect that way. Paul, welcome. Merry Christmas. Thank you so much for joining us from Australia. That's fantastic. All right, let me head over to the group. Also, if you are not in our community yet, you can join our community. Let me pull up that link. That is just customer.services@scale.com/communities. I'm going to go ahead and put that into the comments as well. If you are not a member of our community, would love to have you in there. That is our free and access to our paid community as well. If you are a paid member of our programs or you are subscribed to High Level through us, then you would get free access to our paid community as well. So let me just jump in there real quick and see if we have any questions in there. Josh Dunn, Josh in the Moguls Mastermind, welcome Josh, says how to position what I do as non-emergency services. So it says, Mike, in one of your previous calls, you mentioned that of everything you do with your business, nothing you offer is an emergency for your customers. And that should be what we strive for with creating our systems as a service company. I would love to hear you unpack this some more on a call about how we can position the value that we bring while not fielding calls in the middle of the night if High Level or another tool is having issues. Is this possible? Yes. Okay, Josh. Yeah, good question. So one of the reasons why I hate the typical agency model is that you end up being, oftentimes what you end up being, oftentimes what you end up doing is you end up being at the beck and call of those clients. People glorify this, I signed up a $5,000 a month client or a $7,000 a month client. And that's fantastic. And those come along. Actually, it's not fantastic, and I'll explain why. But those come along and people gloat about them. And that's what you should be doing, is going after the high ticket thing. And look, I have no problem with making as much money from every customer that you possibly can if you have a consistent source of those customers such that no single customer becomes this all important thing to you because they're paying you, $7,000 a month or $5,000 a month. The problem with selling agreements like that to small businesses is that there's not a lot of small businesses out there that are going to commit to paying you $5,000 or $7,000 a month for your services consistently. And so what you end up doing is you get one of those clients or a couple of those clients, and then it's devastating to you if that revenue goes away. And these clients know that, and they end up typically wanting you on speed dial to jump through every hoop that they insist that you jump through, which means that if they want to call you at, yes, Doran says, nothing like the 3 a.m. call, our server got hacked. Yes. So that was my old industry. My old industry was doing IT management for companies. And those truly were, in some cases, emergencies. As an example, one of our clients used to be the biggest ticket broker in Boston. In Boston, it was legal for them. It was essentially like a legal, scalping operation. They were ticket resellers and a little bit shady, but they had a 24/7 operation going and made a lot of money. And one time we got a call in the middle of the night. Hey man, our servers are all down. You better get this shit fixed, or not only fired, we're going to sue you. He was just kind of a jerk and just went directly nuclear at us. Like, it was all our fault that their servers had gone down. So yeah, we had to jump in the middle of the night to get their business back up and running, because it could mean losing potentially, tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of dollars in revenue for them. Now, one of the reasons why I got out of that business is I don't want to be in the emergency business for small businesses. They're not paying me enough for that. That was one of those things that experience taught me. So when it comes to offering marketing services on behalf of your customers, it's hard to imagine what would qualify as an actual emergency. Okay, so Josh, I believe it was Josh, right? Let me just make sure. Use the example of what if high level is down? Yeah, it was Josh. What if high level is down? Hey, if high level is down, that could be a serious problem, obviously, for businesses. But that is something that we are relying on high level to take care of for us, just like we rely on Amazon to provide their cloud infrastructure and every other platform in the world at this point to offer that offers, any sort of SaaS or web-based services. So there's very little that you can do about that. And so for that scenario specifically, you should absolutely have some sort of plan in place that if high level is down, that you are over communicating to your customers. This doesn't have to be one-on-one calls or anything like that. Just finding a way. You should have a backup email communication, backup SMS communication, whatever it is, where you reach out to your customers and say, yes, we know that high levels, or the software platform is down. We're working on it. We're going to keep you posted. Okay. Just like every other software company in the world does. They post a notification saying, yeah, we know it's down. We're working on it. We're going to keep you alerted as to what's happening and when we expect it to be back up. That's the best you can do. I'm trying to imagine any other emergency situation when it comes to marketing for small businesses. Like, an emergency could be like you actually accidentally sent out a newsletter to their entire customer base that had something that was completely out of line in that newsletter. Somehow or another, whoops, something vulgar, slipped into the newsletter or something like that. Like, yeah, that would be an emergency. Shit, you should probably jump to and really make sure you do everything you can to bend over backwards to make sure that you make that customer feel whole again. Otherwise, what are emergencies in marketing? I just don't really think that there are emergencies. So I think that part of this, I think, Josh, is your view on this. And maybe you can describe to me what some actual emergencies are in the marketing world. But I think the way that you handle this is just by being clear that here are our service hours. Here are our SLAs. Here's when we will get back to you, how fast we will get back to you. if in the case of, some sort of outage of the software, you can decide how you want to handle that. Most software companies at this point, again, it's just, hey, we let you know when things are going to come back up and running. We can do our best. Some of them, I've seen some companies offer some sort of money back guarantee. If there's downtime, we're going to refund you for the time period that it was down. So you're paying us for website hosting at $97 a month and you're down for a day, and we could credit you a day of that downtime. I mean, those are possibilities, but really, I think mindset wise, Josh, I think you most likely just need to make sure that you're not in the mindset of that you have to jump through hoops. You don't have to jump through hoops. Run your business from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. or whatever the hours are that you want to be open for operations. And if a help desk ticket comes in that night, you get to it when you come in at 8 o'clock in the morning. It's like I said, it's just super hard for me to imagine what are the emergency situations beyond that. So that would be my approach. And again, just clearly defining, here are our hours, here are SLAs. So we get back to you by this time, within this time frame, that type of thing. And just make sure that you're just clear and firm about that. Let's see here. Let's see, for those of you who did not see in the group, so the Growth Planning Bootcamp course has been updated with content. I've got a little bit more content that I'm going to put in there, but generally it is updated. So you can hop in there and see all the resources that you have available to you and the training that you have available to you to make a plan for the next year, and make that plan based on metrics and with specific actions that are going to help you accomplish those goals and metrics that you set for yourself. Okay. So that is in there and ready to rumble. Let's see here. Paul says, what are your views on the new Google ad services through High Level compared to unpacks and Ply? Is that right? I'm honestly not entirely sure, Paul. I have not played around enough with those. Well, on the Google side of things, I haven't played around at all with that. So I'm really not sure. I think that in my experience, so if we look at like the Facebook ad management aspect of things, unpacks versus High Level, I think that the difference between the two is probably going to be similar to the difference between the two for Google ads as well. And the difference between the two, in my mind, is that unpacks is 100% focused on very scalable ad management across many customers at once. High Level's still more focused on being an individual ad manager for a particular customer. So neither is good or bad necessarily. I think it depends on your service model and what you need to fulfill your service model at the cost structure that you're looking for. If you're telling me, hey, I'm going to do ad management for 700 small businesses at once, then my guess is that you're still really going to want to take a look at an unpacks or something similar to that. If you're saying, hey, I've got customers who do ads and want some help with the ads and want some easier management interface that I can offer for the ads, then I would say that High Level's ad management system could be perfect for you. So I think it really depends on the nature of your model, because with every tool, there are those details, right? The little details that make or break why that tool is so valuable to you. Like there's a lot of people that didn't understand early on, well, why is High Level any different or better than ClickFunnels? Well, it's completely different from ClickFunnels just in a couple of key ways. But those key ways make all of the difference in the world if what you're doing is trying to offer marketing services to small businesses in some sort of agency fashion. It's night and day. But it's really just a couple of key differences in the way High Level approaches things and the way that they've designed their software platform to be scalable for a service provider, both financially and technically. So it's the same thing when you think about the difference between unpacks and High Level in their capabilities, is that one of them is 100% focused on, hey, if you want to manage ads for small businesses at scale, this is what we do and how we do it. And there's going to be those handful of features in there that if that's your value proposition and that's your space in the marketplace, those features are probably going to be very important for you. So that's my take on it. I think that's the case for Facebook ads, and I imagine that's going to be the exact same case for the Google ads. Paul says, do you use any third-party companies like he said Extended, but I believe he means Extendly for your day-to-day operations? Paul, I don't. I have a team that I've had for years and years and years that my team just handles everything for me. So I have a handful of people in the Philippines that I've worked with for 10 plus years now. They've essentially been full-time with me for, around 10 years or more. And then operations is headed up by a person that I've worked with now for 20 years. My head of support has been with me for, I don't know, close to 10 years, I think. Jeez. So yeah, everybody on my team has just jumped in and become high level support or management experts. And but I do have to say though, I mean, I'm in a fortunate position that I've had those relationships for a long time. If I was just getting started today, I would absolutely be looking at Extendly, HL Pro Tools, and maybe one other, and looking at specific things that I could have them do. I would not have the mindset that I could just hand over support to them, or I could hand over the responsibility for customer care to them. That would still be something that I would own, and I may need to have somebody on my team that I hire right away still that owns that function if I'm too busy doing my sales and marketing. But I think that person could be supported by an Extendly or an HL Pro Tools or similar to extend their capability, give them some leverage on their time and effort. And certainly some of the tools that both of those companies have developed. When I say tools, it could be like a technology tool, or it could be just like that they have, white label videos for you to add to your support just to save you time in creating those. I think those types of things can absolutely, provide a lot of value. Okay. Our CPA went from 3 to 78 overnight. That's the emergency. Yeah, that's an emergency. Do you have someone on your team that helps people get started with Go High Level? Wing Chun Kung Fu, cool. No, I do not, because getting started with High Level is something that High Level has a massive team and infrastructure around. So I highly recommend that you sign up for all of the options that they have in terms of onboarding and training and things like that, and leverage that, because they're the experts. They have like I said, a very complete team and process around doing that. Rod Evans says, how can I convince small business owners to buy my subscription? I share insights about their business, but still get a no when I push. Only 5 days left in the free trial. Need advice. Man, that's the $1 million question, isn't it? I mean, there's so much to this answer. The answer to this question is the entire business. I mean, that's the entire nut to crack to be successful in this business. So it's not something I can just answer in a quick comment like this on a call. It is everything from who's the prospect you're talking to, what are their needs, how did you qualify them, what is your value proposition that you're presenting, how are you presenting it, how are you having the conversation. When you say you share insights about their business, what are those insights? How are you lining up those insights to your value proposition? What's your pricing model? I mean, that's like I said, that's the entire business. So Torrance says, what's the one magic thing that will make me a trillionaire? Exactly. And I gotta say, the fact that you are focused on that there's only 5 days left in your free trial makes me think that mindset wise and maybe financially, you're not in a good position to take advantage of this opportunity, because you really, I mean, if you're still in your free trial, you're just getting started. Like, you are just starting to even understand this stuff. And so if that's where you are, then it's hard for you to expect, or it should be hard for you to expect, that a prospect is going to confidently buy from you, because they're way more confused than you are. And if they do not sense that you are the guide that can end that confusion for them and show them how to take advantage of marketing and grow, then they're not going to buy from you. They have lots of options to buy from. So if you are going to be successful in this business, you have got to get into this business with a mindset. In my opinion, you've got to get into this business with a mindset of, at a bare minimum, you're putting your head down for the next year and going for this thing. And I would say that about any business. There's no business that I would tell you to do less than that in terms of mindset, because you've got so much to learn. You've got so many experiences to have in terms of going out there and having sales calls and connecting with people and learning how to refine your pitch and all that. Like, if that's not your mindset, and if you don't have the ability to, at least for 90 days, survive, whether that's by keeping another job, using some savings, using credit cards, whatever it is, to get you through that at least 90 days to start actually having some sales success and generating some income, I just really do not think that you should be doing this. And there are other businesses that, maybe are a better fit for you. But again, I would say any business that you're getting into, you should have that mindset. Yeah, or sponging off your wife is a reasonable option as well. Simple Bad Media. Do you recommend outsourcing cold call appointment setters? If so, do you recommend a resource for cold callers? I do not, and I do not have a resource because I do not. I have never had success outsourcing appointment setting. And there's a couple of reasons why. I think one is that the cost structure of outsourcing appointment setting is a really hard one, unless the value of what you're selling and your sales process, you like really know that you're going to be able to convert the right percentage of those appointments into customers, and that you can invest in that, knowing that knowing how the payoff is going to work. So in other words, if it costs you, let's say you're paying an outsourcer $250 to set an appointment for you, they set 10 appointments for you, that's $2,500. You convert one of those, and the economics of it work, that you recover your money from that one customer in enough time to make all of that worth it and justified for you, then fantastic. My experience is that when selling to the small business marketplace, finding that right combination of the economics of how much you're going to have to pay to get an appointment and the quality of appointment that is going to be set for you, that it's actually going to move the needle for you in a timely manner so that you can convert that and recover those dollars. I've just found that that's very, very, very hard to find. And I tested a bunch. Now, I got to say, I tested a bunch years ago and then gave up on it and just said, nah, I'm just going to stick to developing my own sales teams because I've just found that that's much more effective. And so I've always then just stuck with that going forward. So is there some resource out there now that's, incredible appointment setting machines that are really worth it? I guess that's possible. I haven't heard of them though. And I think I would have, given that I've just been in this space for so long. I think there would be somebody coming to me and telling me, man, these guys are gold. And I have not heard that from anybody. And I don't know anybody who is doing that successfully as a model. Okay. Any thoughts on running a group coaching program as a way to create content for a productized course later? I think that that's a fantastic idea. Yeah, I think that's a fantastic idea. I think that any sort of group coaching or productized training, courses, things like that, are a really, really great way to get to know a customer base and get to know your value proposition and refine that and refine your delivery while getting paid very well in many cases, and still have the scalability benefits of a really, it's an excellent model in terms of your leverage of your time and stuff like that. So yeah, I absolutely like it. So if you, in fact, I would probably say that's the easiest, highest ROI way to create a course is by doing that. If you have a group of people that will pay you, the higher ticket for group coaching, or it doesn't have to be that high ticket, but that way you're getting that real life interaction with people that you can use to then create that course material. Outsourced salespeople will exploit every flaw in your commission structure. Yes, they will. Yes, they will. And they just have an incentive to book appointments, right? And whether or not those appointments are of a certain quality, it can be a really, really tough thing to ensure. My wife runs an outbound BDR company. That's cool. Yeah, and I want to be clear. I am not suggesting that doing outbound services like that, appointment setting services, there are plenty of businesses, plenty of industries where this works just fine and the economics of it will work just fine. So it's not that there's just, a huge flaw with having somebody do that for you, period. I've just found that in selling to small businesses and selling services to small businesses, the economics of it are very hard to make work. Tell me about your first client you acquired while using Go High Level. What is the tone of language and what points did you share with them? Make sure your brother is taking notes from this live section. All right. First client acquired while using Go High Level. And what points did you share with them? So to me, I mean, if you go through any of my training, you will hear my main pitch, and my main points to support that pitch are that businesses, most small businesses lack systems. And systems are so important because systems are what allow you to consistently operate your business and to escape the treadmill of having to do everything yourself. So most entrepreneurs start their businesses because they want freedom. And most small business owners end up with the exact opposite. They end up in this situation where they're just busy night and day, 24/7, and still not making as much money as they thought that they would. And they can't figure out why. And so if you've ever been exposed to E-Myth by Michael Gerber, one of the most influential books ever written about small businesses and how to run them, and certainly one of the most influential books to me on how to build small businesses successfully. Most of my pitch comes from this concept that if you want those things that you started your business for, freedom, money, time, then you have to have systems in place. And the symptoms of not having systems in place are feeling like you have to do everything, feeling like your employees can't get anything done for you because they're not as smart as you, not being able to find and keep good employees, not having enough time at the end of the day, not having enough money at the end of the day and at the end of the month. These are all symptoms, not knowing where your next customer is going to come from. These are all symptoms of lack of systems. And so the pitch is entirely around that. And the pitch is we now have the ability to give small businesses the kinds of systems that would have cost them a fortune just 10 years ago or been impossible. We now have the ability to give those to you for just $4.97 a month, whatever your price point is. And here's what those systems do. And so, Road to Heaven, if you haven't been through my R4 or my R6 pitch, those are my sales systems and the sales scripts related to them. It's all just around that, and it's very, very simple. I try and keep it. I try and focus on using language that is very understandable to the business owner, not a lot of techno jargon or anything like that. Just, you need more people to know who you are. You need to have a good reputation so that when they do know who you are, that they are interested in doing business with you. You need to make sure you're doing things like following up with them consistently, staying in front of them, because not everybody's going to convert into a customer right away. You need to make sure that you're reselling your existing customers and bringing them back so you're maximizing your lifetime value of your customers. And all of those things can be done very systematically rather than the way you're doing it now, haphazardly and inconsistently. So that's the entire pitch. It's not much about high level at all. It's not much about tools at all, other than, of course, in the final implementation of, well, the magic is that we have technology now that allows us to do this. Okay. Gordon, speaking of systems, I just finished rereading the E-Myth yesterday. Awesome. That's awesome. I love it, Matt. Good. Well, I hope you got good value out of it. Mockingbird Software says most businesses are started by technicians who have had an entrepreneurial seizure. That's right. That's so good. So many good books. I had the fortune of, in my previous business, I was a big E-Myth advocate, and I would, give copies of his books to customers and things like that, and my employees, and we structured a lot of our business based on some of the principles in there. And I was the biggest customer of a guy who started what was essentially the high level of our previous industry of IT services. And it's now a massive company. He sold it. Gosh, he sold it for like $5 billion. Crazy. But they've been hugely successful, still are. And he would have an annual summit like High Level does. And he was kind enough that he brought Michael Gerber to speak at one of those summits. And because he knew I was such a big fan of him, he invited me to have lunch with him. So I got to have lunch with him, which was really cool, and hear about some of the other projects he was working on. Really neat, and just a really influential book, really influential mindset for small businesses to have when they understand that your business is made up of systems, and that systems can be designed, installed, measured, improved, and that an effective system can be run by somebody, even if they don't have a ton of knowledge or creative talent for that particular business function. It really frees you up to build a business that can actually serve you and create the lifestyle that you want. And most small business owners, even though this book, more than 2 million copies sold, and so many people have heard of it, the message still has not sunk in nearly to the degree that it should. But it's an incredible asset to use for your sales pitch because 2 million people have bought it. So many people have heard of it. And so when you remind them of it, and they go, oh yeah, shit, yeah, working on my business instead of in my business. Yeah, I remember that. It's a really powerful tool to help you. So I hope that helps you with developing your pitch. And like I said, I wish it was an easy answer to just tell you, just do this and you will sell. But obviously, there's more to it. That's why building a business is tough. Let's see. Any other questions? Let me know. Dawson, my man, I see you back there. We're going to get you on here soon. Don't see any other questions inside the group right now. Everybody's checked out for the holidays, which is good. That's what you should be doing, enjoying some time. And I'll let you get back to it here pretty quickly. But Dawson, my man, you ready? How are you, sir?
Good. How about you?
I'm great. Good to see you. Yeah, look at you. Look at the gear, the merch. I love it. I just got to go see my first football game in SoFi Stadium in Los Angeles. Have you heard about SoFi Stadium?
Yeah.
What an experience. Unbelievable stadium. Most
LA
expensive
Rams,
stadium
right?
ever built. It was
The Rams.
incredible. I saw the Chargers and the Bucks play.
Oh, okay. Fantastic.
Yeah, it was great. Yeah, Bryce, I love it. Bryce says, always love our Dawson check-ins. I love it.
I got Buffalo Sabres tickets tonight. So Leafs and
Oh, good
Sabres.
man.
Yeah, you're definitely right about the supply and demand. I mean, it's great getting cheap tickets maybe the day before, but you have to plan for that. So my day's kind of mixed up here, but I'm gonna, just get through the paperwork and get going to the game. So
Awesome. Good for you.
yeah, you're definitely right about the supply and demand about events.
Oh, yeah. That's right. Our last conversation. Good. How are things at the business?
They're doing pretty good. I had a question.
Yeah,
Is business a game?
I think so. I mean, I personally think that's kind of the only way to look at it. You've heard of the concept of infinite games, right? Infinite games are games that you would keep on playing and want to keep on playing forever, because you just enjoy the doing of them and the improvement of them, and that by doing that you're always adding value, and it's if you're competing against somebody who has that mindset that I'm just here and I'm not going away and I'm doing this because I love it and I'm just going to continue to get better at it. That's a very hard person to beat, and that's a very hard business to beat, right? So I kind of think that's the right way to look at it. Now, I do have to say, I think that's a very entrepreneurial perspective, and some businesses are much more serious than others. I mean, some businesses are life and death businesses, literally. Like whatever, like you're providing ambulance services or something like that. Like you literally have to take those businesses incredibly seriously.
Mm-hmm.
So I think part of it is, who is that person running that business and what is their personality and their mindset? For me personally, any business that's that serious, it's easy for me to just cross off my list and go, I don't care how great of an opportunity it is from a financial perspective. I don't want to be involved. I mean, that's just not me. I don't want to do something where it's like life and death and that type of thing. So, and if you were, let's say you were the head of a big public company, and that big public company employed tens of thousands of people, and people relied on you for their health benefits and their retirement benefits and all that. That's a very serious job. You have a very serious responsibility to make sure that you're doing everything that you can to give those people the right opportunities to provide for themselves and for their families. So I think that all that is very serious. I think as an entrepreneur and as a lifestyle entrepreneur, we have the opportunity to pursue something that really should just be fun and should create joy in our lives. It's not always going to, because things are not always going to go well, of course. So, you got to realize that sometimes when you're playing a game, you're getting kicked in the teeth and losing. But still, it is usually something that can be approached that way, and I think is better off approaching it that way. Does that make sense?
Yeah, because I want to win. I want to see other people win, make win-win situations and negotiations. I guess that's kind of related to probability and game theory and economics. So, I mean, there is a formality to it, And then I guess game, well, it's like if you're talking to 100 customers and only 10 say yes, you're kind of playing a game with yourself, and like it's okay, that's going to happen, and you're kind of going against the odds, but you're still creating value and eventually, hopefully, create money for yourself to create that lifestyle that you need. So there is different perspectives on that. Yeah.
Totally. Yeah, I agree. And I think it's interesting because so much of this has to do with scarcity and money, right? I mean, if you're broke, and I've been broke, when you're that broke, it's hard to think of anything just like a game. It's like, shit, I gotta put food on the table. So if you're Mark Cuban and you've sold your business for billions of dollars and you're starting another small business, it's a lot easier to just pursue it without a mindset of scarcity and just enjoy the challenges because he's going to be able to eat at night no matter what, right?
Hmm.
So, you know, I get that different people are going to have different perspectives. I just think I think it pays off if you can look at it that way, though. Like you were saying, like it can be fun, it can be win-win, it can be healthy competition. Doesn't have to be nasty, doesn't have to be cutthroat. Still be competition. Like if I'm playing a game, if I'm playing you in whatever sport, I still want to beat you. But that doesn't mean I want to beat you personally and beat you down or anything like that. We can
Hmm.
still have fun and learn from it and grow together and all that stuff. So um, but I do think it's a healthy mindset when you can have it for sure.
Yeah, so I just like just reflecting and critical thinking. And whenever I have something like that come up, I write it down, I reflect on it, I talk to other people, and then I keep going, keep going, because I put that in check, and then I keep taking action. So yeah.
That's awesome, man. Good for you. I love it.
Thanks, and thank you for the opportunity today, and hopefully Merry
Always.
Christmas and Happy New Year as well.
Thank you so much. You too, my man. Thank you for being here. We
Go Leafs,
appreciate
go!
you.
Go Leafs, go!
Have a great time at the game. Mark, I see you back there, sir. You ready to join us?
You,
I'm going to
Mike.
add
How
you.
are you today?
I'm good. How are you, sir?
It's good to talk to you again. We had a chat about a year or so ago, but it's good to be back talking to you. All right, so here is my question for you. I am trying to marry together one 4R, okay, and five
Yeah.
P's from Daniel Priestley. Do you know? I'm going to guess you know Daniel Priestley very well, right?
I don't actually. I'm sorry. I'll have to look him up.
Daniel Priestley wrote The Key Person of Influence,
Okay.
and he has five P's based on pitch, profile, public, publish, and two other P's. Now, the question I have for you is this: I'm going back into a space that I know very much about, which is okay. And what I want to do is send out a survey to capture questions and concerns that they are working on in terms of marketing their services. Right now, they are all having challenge with marketing like crazy. Should I do the survey first or build my website first? That is the biggest question that I'm dealing with right now.
I mean, I would personally say, since it's so easy to put up a website now, I would personally at least put up a simple website that explains, who you are and looks like you're a professional business before you send it out, because I think that you're going to be way more likely to actually get the responses that you're looking for and for people to be willing to share with you because they think that there's credibility there. Um, that would be my concern, is that if you don't have that, I feel like the website in today's world is still like that home base that people go to and look to say, is this person real? Is this business real? Who is this that I'm potentially sharing information with. So I think that ideally, you could use high level, you could use any other number of tools, just really quickly throw up a website that at least has that presence and makes you look professional. I don't think that you have to like fully develop a perfect website before you send out the survey, but I would personally take that step first and then do it. That would be my suggestion.
Okay, I agree with you, Dan, because I had been going back and forth because both of them will cost me about the same to do. It's just a question of what do I do first because of resources constraint. That's why I'm kind of conflicted on that. Now, the not this session, but the session before last, I was the one that asked about whether what's the difference between the 4-hour and the 6-hour. Could you try and give me a breakdown of that again, please, if you don't mind? I know you said the 4-hour is just for regular marketing, and the 6-hour is for building systems, if I'm not wrong.
Yes. So to be clear, well, to try and be clear, let me see if I can clarify that a bit more. So the R4 is about it's about using systems to market and grow your business. What I felt was that it was missing some of the conversation that I wanted to have with small businesses that really lined up with the capabilities of high level. And so I can just, let me just pull up the R6 and I'll just share my screen and just show you what I'm referring to really quickly here. And I think it'll help illustrate what I'm saying. Real quick, 1 second. So, and maybe this helps the gentleman, Road to Heaven. Maybe this helps you as well. I'm glad that I answered your questions there, but hopefully this will help shed a little bit more insight on the way that I pitch this and suggest that you pitch your services, or some variation of this. I'm not suggesting that you have to do things exactly like this. I'm just suggesting that having a framework like this to help you sell really, really, really helps you communicate your value proposition and compel your prospects to do business with you. So whether it's this exact framework or some other framework, but Mark, the R4, obviously there was 4 R's. This has additional R's. And in particular, we've got reliability and we've got readiness on here. Okay. And so reliability is this in the message that I'm communicating with the R6, I'm communicating to them, here's what marketing is, and here's how it works. Okay. And so that was something that in the R4 I did, but I didn't do it as completely as I do in the R6. So I think it's really important that when you speak to a small business, that you come across as the guide. And most small businesses, if you ask them, what is marketing? You'll get, if you ask 100 business owners, you'll get 100 different answers. If I asked 100 agency owners, what is marketing? I'll get 100 different answers. So you want to be able to tell them what marketing is. And so that's what we do with this first framework in the R6 is I say to them, look, there's a lot of confusion about what marketing is. Let me explain to you how we view marketing. In very practical terms for your small businesses, marketing is your ability to attract prospects, convert them into customers, and retain those customers as long as you can. Okay, that's what we're trying to accomplish with our marketing. And so every small business owner can understand that and nod their head yes and go, yep, get it. And so the 6 R's show up here, Mark, and you may not be able to see them since you're in your car. Please be careful because you can watch this.
I am packed.
Okay, good. Okay, cool. So then the 6 R's show up for the first time down here, where I say, okay, what are the keys to success to being able to attract more prospect? One, you just need to reach more people. So you got to get your message out there. This is what advertising does. This is what social media can do. And then your reputation. It's a combination of those two factors. It's a formula. If you take the number of people that you're contacting and multiply it times whether you have a good reputation or bad reputation, then that's going to give you a result. The more people you reach, if you have a great reputation, the more people are going to be attracted to do business with you. So there's 2 R's right there. And then the next one is converting them. And so to convert them, we've got to be ready to do business. And what does being ready to do business mean? It means somebody picks up the phone. When they pull you up on their mobile phone, that you have a mobile optimized website that they can actually get the information that they need. It means that there's a form on the website to be able to book their appointment automatically instead of having to call in the first place. There's all these measures of readiness. It could mean that if we miss the call, we automatically text them back with the missed call text back, or that we're using the AI employee service so that AI answers the phone for us. So there's all these things that we can do to make sure that small businesses are ready for business. And we know that the average small business misses over half of their inbound phone calls. So readiness is a huge problem. Okay. Also key to converting is remarketing. Remarketing, you've got to stay in touch with people over time because not everybody is ready to buy right away. In fact, a very small percentage of people who are interested in your products and services are actually ready to buy right now. And so we've got to stay in front of them. And so that's what remarketing is. And then retaining them. And this is where you see reliability for the first time, and then reselling. We know what reselling is, right? We want to continue to make offers. Reliability, this is a very, very important, essentially, I put this in as a qualifier to a large extent to make sure that the small business owner that I'm talking to is actually somebody I want to do business with. And so, Mark, let's say that you own a restaurant and I'm selling to you. And I'm selling to you. What I'm going to say is, it sounds like it's reverberating back. Let me see here. What I'm going to communicate to you in terms of reliability, I'm going to say, Mark, if somebody comes into your restaurant the first time that they see the ads from us and they come in and they have an outstanding experience, the food is hot, the person who greeted them at the front of the restaurant was friendly, got them seated quickly, they went to the bathroom, the bathrooms were sparkling clean, everything went great. That's an excellent experience, and that's going to make them want to come back again. So our marketing worked. We got them in the door. Now we're going to continue marketing to them. We got them on our newsletter or on our loyalty plan or whatever it is, and we bring them back in a second time. And let's say that second time they come in and the food is cold. There was hair in the food. They got up and went to the bathroom and it was disgusting and unclean and filthy. Now they've had 2 experiences and the reliability of those experiences was terrible. One was excellent. One was really poor. It doesn't matter what marketing we do. If they have those poor experiences when they come in, our marketing is not going to work magic. Eventually people are going to stop coming to your restaurant. And so it is the business owner's job to make sure that they are reliably delivering the customer experience that we're marketing. If we're marketing out there that we're the best restaurant and coming in for your great food and your fresh, and smiley, happy people and a great environment, and then they come in and that experience isn't what they were expecting, they're not coming back. Right? We're going to ruin that customer opportunity and that relationship. And so we have to work with small businesses who understand that and agree to that and are committed to that. If you're working with a small business that doesn't go, yeah, of course, yes, that's what I want to be able to focus on. I want to deliver the best meals. I want to be able to, take care of our customers. I can't do a good job of that and do all the marketing stuff. So I need your help with the marketing. And then we can say, yeah, that's what we do. We can put together excellent marketing for you. We can make sure the systems are in place. We're going to use these 4 R's. And that's what the next framework is. We say, here is how we view in order these 6 R's, Reliability is the foundation. Again, it doesn't matter how good of a job we do with our marketing. If you're not delivering on your end, this isn't going to work. Okay. And that reliability drives your reputation, but we can put systems in place to make sure that we are systematically capturing the value of that reputation and sharing the value of that reputation in the marketplace, so that as we do more marketing, people are going to see, oh, wow, these guys have a great reputation. They're doing really well. We're going to make sure that that positive feedback is getting published and it's out there. We're going to make sure that Google recognizes your business because you have accurate information out there. We're going to make sure that you have a nice professional website so that your reputation is as solid as possible. And then readiness, we're going to make sure that if we're doing this marketing for you, that you're ready to do business, that you have a phone number that works, that you have missed call text back, that you have a lead capture form on your website, that you have a mobile optimized website where the phone number is very clearly visible and it's press to call and all that good stuff, so that when people respond to the marketing, it's very easy for them to initiate business with you and initiate contact with you because you've got all the systems in place to be ready for that. Because right now, most small businesses aren't ready, right? When was the last time you tried to get in touch with a contractor, a home services contractor, and you try and get in touch with them, and you can't get in touch with them, you can't get a call back for days, and you wonder why. And then when you finally do get one in your house and they're doing work for you, you see why. It's because they still have a Motorola flip phone, and that's their business phone. And so when they're out working at your house and anybody's calling them, they're just not answering the phone. They're just putting it into voicemail. And then they get back to those calls 3 days later because they're busy. They're not ready to grow. They're not ready for more business. So we want to put systems in place to make sure that they are ready to do business. And then we want to make sure that we have systems in place to resell any customers that we get so that we're maximizing the lifetime value. Systems in place to make sure that we are staying in front of any prospects who have not yet bought from us, so we don't just do one-off marketing and then not get any attention with those prospects anymore, because one-off marketing doesn't work. It takes an average of 7, 10, 15 times contacting a prospect before they're ready to buy. And then finally, the last thing that we're focused on is reaching more people. Reaching more people is the expensive part of all this. It's where you're spending advertising dollars to try and get out in front of as many people as you can, or you're spending a bunch of time doing social content to try and get in front of as many people as you can. That takes more dollars and more effort. And that's usually what most small businesses focus on first, which is why they get so damn frustrated with marketing, is because they go and they spend a bunch of money on advertising or PR when they don't have the systems in place yet to make sure that they can actually capture and benefit from all that extra attention. If you spend a bunch of money on an advertising campaign and then you miss over half of your inbound calls because you're not ready and you don't have the systems in place, and you're not staying in front of the prospects over time because you thought, oh, you're just going to get in front of them once and they're going to do business with you and then that's it, when that's not reality, then any marketing that you do, any advertising that you spend money on is going to feel like a waste because you're not set up to capitalize. So what we do is we put the systems in place to make sure that you're ready to capitalize. And most small businesses, just by having these systems in place, are going to grow because they've never had these systems in place before, and yet they're still surviving somehow. So you're doing enough, you've got enough goodwill out there in the marketplace that you're still surviving, you're still making some money, people know who you are, but without these systems, you're not able to capture all that effort that you've put into building this business and turn it into ROI in terms of growth. So just by putting these systems in place, you may not have to invest much in reach. But if you do invest in reach, you'll have the systems in place to take advantage of it. So that's the pitch. And then these 6 R's, Mark, line up perfectly. Well, I should say the 5 R's line up perfectly with the capabilities that you can deliver in high level. And so that's the next part of the pitch. Then the transition to your service delivery is, here is how we execute on each of these 5 R's for you using our system. So Very similar, Mark, to the 4 R's, but you can see that I've added a couple of things in here. One, reliability, because that message is so important as a qualifier. And it's so important that you are communicating to them, hey, what you do here with your products and services is the foundation of success of all of this stuff, right? That message needs to be heard loud and clear. And you need to be working with a small business owner that goes, yep, get it. But then the other major thing that was added in here is readiness. And readiness, there's so many incredible capabilities of high level around readiness. And there's so many stats out there and examples out there of businesses not being ready. And so that's just a very easy one to sell around. So it's easy to sell around, hey, when people call you, you should have a process for making sure that you're getting right back to them, right? Yeah. Okay, cool. We have these various systems that we will put in place to make sure that if somebody calls you, you're going to get right back in touch with them. So it's just an easy one to sell, and it was missing in the R4. And then the other part of the R4, depending on when you looked at it, it used to have referral. I take referral out of there now and have these other R's because referral marketing, I think one is a very hard one to execute systematically, and two, it's a very hard one to demonstrate the ROI of. In a lot of businesses, it's very hard to demonstrate the ROI. So I would much rather stick with systems that we know how to execute and that we can demonstrate very clear value with. And that's why we have these R's in here. Does that make sense? I know that was a long answer to your question, but I hope that.
Well, while you were talking, I was making notes. So let me see if I captured it correctly by what I wrote down. Our job as a marketer is to publish the reliability that is foundational to the reputation that you want to share, along with systems that are in place to handle the readiness, which is necessary for us to resell your services to your existing database, and lastly, help us increase the reach that you are looking for.
Yeah, and I think the way you explained it is that one has to lead to another. I don't think we have to pitch it that way. One doesn't have to lead to another, but I think that they go in this order of importance. And so if you are looking at the right way to execute in order, it would be this order. So in other words, reliability, we want to make sure that we're dealing with a business that's got a good product or service and they're ready to deliver on it, right? Otherwise, why spend a bunch of money on marketing? If you don't have a good product or service, then why spend a bunch of money marketing it? Second, then, is reputation. Do you have any negative reputation out there that could be preventing us from selling successfully? And if so, how do we clean that up? And do you have systems and processes in place for making sure that we're capturing and sharing your good reputation as much as we can? Okay, those two things should be in place. Next, assuming now that we are going to start some marketing activity to try and get you more attention, we need to make sure that you are ready. Why put out the effort to get you more attention if you're not even ready for it? If you're going to miss half your calls, why are we spending more money to increase the calls when we could instead just make sure you have a system in place to capture the 50% of calls you're missing? That alone will grow your business. So let's make sure that that is in place. And then resell, because you already have some existing customers. So we can get you growing just by making sure that you are reselling your existing customers more effectively. When was the last time you sent out a newsletter? When was the last time you sent out an offer, right? So this is something that we can do to get your business growing even more without having to spend a lot of money on advertising. So let's put that in place. Exact same explanation for remarketing, right? Remarketing is, let's make sure that we're staying in front of the people who have shown some interest already, rather than trying to invest a bunch of money in getting new interest. And then final piece of the puzzle is, now let's ramp up the interest. Now let's ramp up the attention that you're getting, because we have the systems in place now to execute on all these other factors. So does that make sense? It's just it's just a logical order of how this stuff should be executed.
So what if I hear you correctly? You are saying, okay, this is not linear, but if I'm going to execute, I need to prioritize my execution. Correct?
Correct. Exactly.
I
And
think
so
I
and so as an example, Mark, just to say, sorry to cut you off, but you could have somebody who's already got an excellent reputation management system in place. And so you could say, that's fantastic. The problem is I just tried to call your office and nobody answered. And so we need to address readiness next, which makes sense. Here it is on our pyramid, makes perfect sense. Let's do that next. Let's get that system in place so that we can execute for you. But yes, it doesn't have to be linear. You could jump right ahead to readiness because that could be what they're missing, but they've already got reputation. So this is just meant to be a logical priority of how the systems should be put in place, in what order, and then you will, in your discussion with the prospect, find out, okay, where are you? What do you currently have in place? What's working for you? What's not? Let's fill the gaps. That makes sense?
That makes sense. I mean, you've helped me crystallize
Good.
what needs to go to my website and what needs to go on my questionnaire.
Awesome. I love it.
I really appreciate it. I've always enjoyed your teachings, the office hour, whenever I'm able to join. I've always enjoyed it. So looking forward to 2025 with you, man.
Awesome. Thank you, Mark. Likewise. Happy holidays and have a great new year. And I look forward to reconnecting with you in January.
Thank you.
All right.
We'll talk to you.
Okay. Thank you for being here. Bye-bye. Awesome. All right, everybody. The only other question I see in right now is from Bill Clinton. Bill, thank you for joining us. That's fantastic. He says, how can firms apply dynamic financial models to optimize capital allocation while managing exchange rate risk and regulatory uncertainty? Man, that's a doozy. We're going to save that for our January call. Thank you, Bill, for being here. Thank you, everybody, for being here. I appreciate you. Thanks for being a part of the community. Thanks for being here and spending some time with me this close to the holidays. I appreciate it. I hope you got some good value out of it. And happy holidays. Happy New Year. I look forward to working with you all in 2025. Please, if you are a part of my community and you have access to the Growth Planning Bootcamp, please make sure that you spend some time here over the next couple of weeks, putting a plan in place that you're excited about, that motivates you to get the best out of the next year, and gives you that plan to go and execute it. Nothing would make me happier if I can help you with that in any way. Otherwise, we will plan on seeing you in 2025. All right. Take care, everybody. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.